Good morning, children. Let us continue our chapter 13, that is Democratic and Nationalistic Revolution 17th, 18th and 19th centuries. Let us start with Reign of Terror. In the year 1793, Louis XVI along with his wife was sentenced to death and France was declared a republic, children. And state came under the control of Robespierre, who was the leader of Jacobin Club. He ruled for 1 year, children, that is 1793 to 1794. This period, this 1 year period was known as the Reign of Terror. He terrorized the nation. His policies were not good. People were unhappy with his policies. So let us discuss what was his policies. He started a policy of strict control and punishment. He was controlling the state and his people and the people of the state, and he was used to punish them. He used to arrest people, used to imprison them, and then used to try them, in the courts. Then, whom did he try? He tried the people whom he saw as his enemies. Who were his enemies then? All his opponents, that is, opposite party, other party members, nobles, clergy, members of his own party also, whom he used to feel that they are not listening to him, they are not following his policies, those who are not following his methods, those who are not agreeing to him. He used to try them also. They belong to his party only. So, in the court, the trial used to go on, and if the court found them as guilty, he used to guillotine them. He used to send them to guillotine. They were guillotined. The picture is given in your textbook, children. Beheading them. Okay. Then, what was his policies? He fixed the upper limit for wages and prices. Beyond that, a particular limit, no one can have more than that wages. Prices of the goods also he fixed upper limit for the prices, goods, prices. White flour was not allowed to use, children. It was compulsory that people used to purchase bread made of whole wheat, Meat and bread were rationed, Meat and bread were rationed. People have to purchase whatever the government asking them to purchase. Beyond that limit, no one can purchase. Peasants were forced to sell their grains to the government in the market at the rate fixed by the government. You are the farmer, you are growing, you are harvesting, you are spending money, but rate was fixed by the government and you have to sell at the rate which was fixed by the government in the markets. Churches were shut down, children, and they were converted into barracks for the army, or otherwise they were converted into offices. People were unhappy with the rule of Robespierre, so he was sentenced to death. That is, he was guillotined in the year 1794. The person who started this policy, he himself was guillotined by his people in the year 1794. So the period between 1793 to 1794 is known as Reign of Terror. A directory rules France. In the year 1794, when Robespierre was convicted by a court and was sent to guillotine, children, he was arrested and sent to guillotine. Then that was the fall of Robespierre government. With the fall of the Robespierre government, the wealthier middle classes came to power. Who came to power, children? Wealthier middle classes came to power. Then they introduced a new constitution. The wealthier middle classes, those who came to power, they introduced a new constitution. This new constitution elected 2 legislative councils. And these legislative councils appointed a directory. Who were directory? Directory was the executive team of 5 members. How many members were there in the directory? There were 5 members in the directory. Those 5 were known as directors. Okay? Who appointed directory? Constitution elected 2 legislative councils. These legislative councils appointed a directory. How many members were there in a directory? 5 members were there. They were known as directors. These directors and the legislative councils always was having a clash among themselves. Okay, there was idealistic differences between both of them. Okay, so legislative council was asked to dismiss all the directors. Then the directors were dismissed. Legislative council and directory was fighting. Directors were asked to dismiss by the legislative council. Then, so there was a political instability in the country. This led to the rise of military dictators. And who was the military dictator? Napoleon Bonaparte was the military dictator. He captured the power of France and declared himself as an emperor of France. Who declared himself as an emperor of France? Napoleon Bonaparte. When did he capture the power? When there was a political instability. Why there was a political instability? Because there was a fight. There were clashes between legislative council and directors. So legislative council was asked to dismiss the directors. There were clashes and the directors were dismissed. So there was a political instability. That was the right time for Napoleon to capture the power of France. He captured France, the power, and declared himself as an emperor of France. By 1810, whole Europe except England and Turkey came under Napoleon's control, children. Then the monarchs, the kings, those who lost their kingdoms to Napoleon were all joined together. Okay, why did they join together? Because they wanted to get their kingdoms back. Under whose leadership they fought? Under the leadership of England. England was the leader, because England and Turkey were the countries those who did not come under the control of Napoleon. So all those who lost their kingdoms, they all united, they came together under the leadership of England, okay, and fought with Napoleon. And finally, after a long battle, Napoleon was defeated. In which year he was defeated? He was defeated in the year 1815. Then all the monarchs, they got their kingdoms back. Once Napoleon was defeated, all the kingdoms were given back to their respective kings. Then Louis XVII was appointed as the King of France. Louis XVII was appointed as the King of France. I think you remember what we have discussed in the last class. Louis XVI along with his wife was sentenced to death because of treason. Okay, and here Louis XVII was again appointed as the King of France. After Louis XVII, Charles X came to power. This Charles X wanted to bring back all the privileges of nobles and clergies. Bring back nobles and clergies and give the privileges to nobles and clergies. And people were unhappy with Charles X. He also abolished freedom of press and House of Representatives. House of Representatives, who are representatives? The elected members. He abolished freedom of press and the House of Representatives. So people were unhappy. So they all revolted against Charleston in the year 1830. There was another revolution in the year 1830. And Louis Philippe, who was a close relative of Charleston, was appointed as the King of France. After Louis XVI, Louis XVII, after Louis XVI, Napoleon, then Louis XVII, then Charleston, then Louis Philippe was appointed as the King of France. He promised many things, but he could not fulfill the wishes of the people. He could not keep his promises. Okay? He could not fulfill the wishes of the people. So people again protested. When they protested, there was another revolution in the year 1814, and Louis Philippe had to run away from France. He fled away from France. And again France was declared as a republic second time. When there are no kings in a republic, there is no place for any king children. Here Louis Philippe fled away from France. Then there is no king, and France was again declared as a republic. This is second time France was declared as republic. Then again monarchy was restored under the leadership of Napoleon III. Napoleon III became the King of France. Finally, in the year 1871, France became republic. France was declared as a republic for third time. From the very beginning, women were the active participants in the French Revolution, children. They thought that there was a ray of hope for them, that their participation would force the revolutionary government to take some steps to improve women's lives. Women of the third estate were working as laundresses, sold flowers, fruits, vegetables, and also working as a domestic help to the rich and wealthier people's houses. They were not allowed to educate, and they were not allowed to take any job training also. Though they were working, their wages were less than men. There was discrimination among men and women, gender discrimination. And only the daughters of nobles and the wealthier people's daughters of the third estate were allowed to go to convent schools. Then after that, their families were arranging marriages for them. Okay? And so these ladies, women were annoyed, and they started their political clubs, and they started their own newspapers to discuss their problems and their interests. To discuss their problems and interests, these women, they started their political clubs as well as their own newspapers. Their demands were that women also should get same political rights as men. There should not be any discrimination. Women also should get the same political rights as men were getting. And their demands were to get a right to vote. In the year 1871, women were declared as passive citizens. Children, I discussed in the last class that there were two kinds of citizens, active citizens and passive citizens. Women were coming under passive citizens. Those who were not given any, those were not entitled to vote. So they were annoyed. They said that they want a right to vote. Here they started their political clubs, their newspapers, and their demands were to get right to vote, to be elected to assembly, and to hold political position. These were their demands. Look at this outline of French Revolution, children. Look at this table with years. In the year 1774, Louis XVI, along with his wife Marie Antoinette, became King and Queen of France. In the year 1781, Louis XVI helps the American colonies in war against Britain. He increased taxes and tithes and tailors, children. In the year 1789, meeting of Estate Generals, Proposal for new taxes. Third estate walks out. 1789 June. Formation of National Assembly. National Assembly writes a draft of the Constitution. 1789 August. Constitution accepted by Louis XVI. 1791 France becomes a constitutional monarchy. Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizens. 1792 Louis XVI starts secret alliances with Prussia. National Assembly declared war against Prussia and Austria. 1793 Jacobin Club and Robespierre revolt against monarchy. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette sentenced to death. Reign of terror under Robespierre. Robespierre convicted and guillotined. Napoleon Bonaparte declares himself the Emperor of French Republic. 1815 Napoleon was defeated and dynasties came back to power. 1830 to 1870 revolution against ruling dynasties. 1871 France becomes a republic for the third time. Let's start with unification of Germany, children. Till 19th century, Germany was divided into small independent kingdoms, children. Let us go back to 1606, children. Napoleon conquered all the kingdoms and the small independent kingdoms and formed Rhine Confederation, called as Rhine Confederation. And how many kingdoms he conquered, children? He brought 39 kingdoms together and named them as Rhine Confederation. And for the first time, all were ruled under one crown. Otherwise, every kingdom was having their own king. These 39 kingdoms were having their own kings. Kingdoms were ruled by their own kings. In 1606, Napoleon conquered these kingdoms and brought all together, united them and called them as Rhine Confederation. And for the first time, all these were ruled under one crown. There was only one king. Okay. They all liked this and wanted to be united forever. But once the Napoleon was defeated, Vienna Congress, Vienna, the capital of Austria, Vienna Congress made them independent. Again made them independent, and those kingdoms were given to their kings back. And a customs union was formulated. Instead of unification, this Rhine Confederation, a customs union was formulated which was named as Zollverein, and this customs union gave trade rules for free trade and economic cooperation among all the states. They were declared as independent, but economic cooperation was given to them. This was the first step for the political unity and unification of Germany. Then people again wanted the Germany to be united. The ruler of Prussia was William I, children, and its chancellor was Bismarck. Bismarck was the main person behind the unification of Germany, children. He fought 3 wars in 7 years. First war with Austria, first war with Denmark, second war with Austria, and third war with France. 3 wars with Denmark, Austria and France. First, he isolated France, Denmark and Austria. He isolated them, then one by one he fought with them and he completed the unification of Germany. His policy was blood and iron, children. He made compulsory militarism in his country, that is, all the citizens, he made it compulsory for all the citizens to join military. He fought first war with Denmark. He raised the issue of Schleswig and Holstein, children. Schleswig and Holstein, they lie towards the north of Germany, and they were united with Denmark. The Schleswig and Holstein were united with Denmark, which lie towards the north. Okay, and people of Germany wanted these two states. Okay, so Bismarck asked Austria. He went to Austria, though Austria was a foe of Prussia. Bismarck went to Austria and requested Austria to come and help to fight with Denmark. So Austria came for help to help Prussia with its army. Together, Austria and Prussia fought with Denmark and won the war. After winning, Prussia took Schleswig and Austria was given Holstein. They have divided these two places among Prussia and Austria, children. Prussia gave Austria Holstein and Prussia took Schleswig. Then Austro-Prussian War. After winning Denmark, Bismarck's target was Austria. He secretly planned a war with Austria, children. Actually, he took the help of Austria to win Denmark. After winning this war, Holstein was given to Austria. Then he wanted to fight Austria and win Austria also. He made friendship with Napoleon of France, and he said that he asked Napoleon to be neutral, to maintain neutrality, neither to support Austria nor Prussia, said maintain neutrality, and if Napoleon maintains neutrality, he promised him to give the permission to expand towards Rhine Valley, coalfields, children. Then Russia was already a friend of Prussia. He promised Italy also that if Prussia wins Austria, wins the war, then Bismarck promised Italy that he will give Vienna to Italians. He promised Napoleon to maintain neutrality, and in return he said that he will give the permission to expand towards Rhine, that is Rhine Valley, and he promised Italy that if he wins the war against Austria, he will give Vienna to Italians. Austria, who helped Prussia to fight a war with Denmark, was watching everything. Then he started asking Prussia that why Prussia is doing like this, and raised the issue in the Diet. Diet is a German parliament, children. Then Prussia said that this is a breach of trust, that we have trusted you, but by raising this issue in the parliament, you have breached our trust. So Prussia sent its army towards Holstein. Holstein was given to Austria, children, after winning the war. Austria raised this issue in the Diet again and asked Diet to send its army to help Austria against Prussia. War broke out, and in the war, Austria lost. Okay, and this is the second war, children. First war, war with Denmark. Second war, war with Austria. Both the wars, Prussia won. Okay. Then Franco-Prussian War. Napoleon, after seeing these two wars, and Napoleon felt that now he is becoming weak day by day and Prussia is becoming powerful day by day. So Napoleon thought, let me go and ask my compensation from Prussia. He started demanding his compensation. His compensation was expansion towards Rhine. It was the promise given by Bismarck to Napoleon. That if he maintains neutrality, he will give permission to expand towards Rhine. Bismarck was not at all willing to give Rhine and those, compensation. Not at all willing to give the compensation to Napoleon. Bismarck was not in a mood to give compensation. So only option left for Napoleon was war. There is another reason of Spanish succession, children. In the year 1863, people of Spain was fed up of the rule of their queen Isabella. So they removed their queen Isabella from her throne and offered that throne to Leopold. And who was Leopold? He was the close relative of Prussian king. So French people, they raised their objections. They said that how can the throne could be given to a close relative of a Prussian king, that is William I. So when the objections were raised by French people, then Leopold did not accept the offer. Okay, then Napoleon III wanted a promise from Prussian king that he will not interfere or Prussia will not interfere in the Spanish succession affair. Prussian king rejected the wish of Napoleon and wrote the entire, all the happenings, what all happened between Napoleon and Prussian king. A message was sent to Bismarck. Prussian king sent the telegram from Ems, city of Ems. From city of Ems to Bismarck, who was stationed at Berlin. So that's why this is known as Ems telegram. Once Bismarck got the telegram, he manipulated the telegram in such a way that the telegram would create hatred between the people of Prussia and France, due to which the war broke out between France and Prussia, and the war lasted for 6 months, children, and Bismarck won the war. And he ordered his troops to march into Paris. So he marched into the Paris, and there a treaty was signed, children, and the Treaty of Frankfurt was signed, and William I was coronated as the Emperor of Germany, coronated as German Emperor, and unification of the task of unification of Germany was accomplished successfully by Bismarck. And after signing the treaty, Alsace and Lorraine was given by France to Germany. And unification of Germany was accomplished. Let us conclude this session here, children. In the next session, we will learn about unification of Italy. Thank you.